All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the official coverage of Palantir's AIP Con number 3. I am here today with myself, Ether Square, and Arnie. Arnie, you're live with us now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. For those that don't know Ether, I know you all probably do know him, but I'm putting his Twitter in the chat. He is the person who finds out all these damn companies working with Palantir before they are actually officially working with Palantir, because he's an assassin with finding these different links. So Ether, thank you for being on the channel. Me and Ether actually met back in New Jersey. We were at a bar when Palantir was like $8, and we were talking about what this could be one day. And it's so amazing to see them execute. Obviously, Arnie's here with me. Ether, we'll start off with you. We got 10 minutes till AIP Con starts. What are your expectations for this conference, and what do you think some of these clients are going to be talking about?
Just the whole thing that, chat has been chat from Palantir, not our chat. Has been like pumping the whole event for 2 days or so, saying stuff and like getting the spirits up, and I'm just so excited for this event. I think it's going to be much better than the other ones, and they were amazing. They were legendary, and now I think that this is going to be fun, and we are here for 2 hours of pure information, data, and yeah, amazing content.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Chad as well, he's a Palantir employee. He tweeted this a couple hours ago, and basically it's a board that says aerospace, construction, financial services, energy, consulting, healthcare, life sciences, automotive. It looks like what they're really trying to prove on the third iteration of this conference is the use cases for AIP. Because if they can show that there are many, many more use cases than what people expect, that's probably going to explode the level of interest, and more interest means more customers means eventually more revenue. Arnie, how are you today, and are you excited about AIP Con coming up in a little bit? You're muted.
Sorry, I really can't wait for this because, as you said, every IPCon we know something more, and it's not only the customer side telling the stories of the use cases, but it is also the management, especially at the beginning, showing the vision for the future. Do you remember the first time Sham already explained how it is not really a matter of, okay, you have a model, just do stuff. The magic happens when you start having multiple models. Sham showed what the Palantir interface could be in like 5 years from now, and it was all about managing these K LLM models. And we are in a world where companies are neither actually using one LLM model for some use cases. I just finished to record the karp interview at Bloomberg, and again, he was.
We didn't get to watch it. So, what did he talk about? Any tidbits you can give us?
Well, he talked a lot about the defense side. So on Titan, how important it is. On the commercial side, he insisted a lot. Look, we are still against PowerPoints, and the journalist asked, "What do you have against PowerPoints?" And he's like, "Because old people keep telling us." Clients show like the software companies show us stuff, but their stuff, and we say, come and prove our product, like test, give me a real output.
Right. Yeah, I think that's, we know that this bootcamp strategy has exploded. Yesterday for the AIP Con press conference, they said they're doing the PR. They said they had 850 boot camps in total since June. Ether, what are your thoughts on these boot camps? When you and I talked in 2022 at a bar in New Jersey, we said, man, the sales and marketing really sucks, but we think they have a good product. Obviously, sales and marketing seems to not suck anymore. What are your thoughts on this bootcamp strategy, and what do you think it'll do for AIP clients?
I think this is just like a piece of the puzzle in the middle, because back then, 2 years ago, it was, Palantir just started to recruit salespeople, and I think that was one of the biggest news back then, that Palantir didn't have salespeople until then, so we were a bit shocked. But I think that we are in the middle of the path, or in the middle of a way to another strategy and I think that is letting customers sell Palantir software. And 2 years ago, we were talking exactly about this, that this needed to be the strategy for Palantir. And now we are seeing this. And AIP Con is the best place, I think, for companies to sell Palantir. And they are selling their own platforms built on top of Foundry. But this is our benefit that we will get those people just from that work and are being paid by other companies to sell our thing, Palantir. So we are in the middle of this, and bootcamps are just a good piece of the puzzle towards this goal.
Go ahead, Arnie. Go ahead. If you're gonna say
Guys, have you seen the very recent post from the Palantir official account where they showed a picture where they essentially are going to show us how AIP integrates with the new product they delivered a couple of months ago, mixed reality headset, and well, the platform. And I'm really looking for that. It is real. It's like people are focused on, oh, I can have a chat I can speak with, while Palantir is already building rocket ships with this AI.
Yeah, and what they're saying here, by the way, this guys, this is going to start at 1:15. They just adjusted the live stream start time, so we have another 15 minutes to talk. Arnie, actually, do you want to pull up the Karp interview? We could watch that all together.
I'm just rendering it because it was too heavy, so I'm compressing it so that I can upload it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they just changed it to 1:15, so we'll start in 15 minutes. So right here, this is what Arnie's talking about. Palantir said AIP plus mixed reality equals next generation operations demoed for the first time ever by a commercial customer. So that means there is a commercial customer out there in the world, we will find out today, that is using the mixed reality software that Palantir has built on top of AIP, and they're going to show some type of version of that demo. This is going to be one of the most insane AIP conferences I think we've heard or we've seen since they went public. The one in June was exciting, but it was the first time we learned about AIP. One in September was okay, but it was kind of just like, all right, we're seeing more use cases. This one, it feels like a year later, they really refined what this product offering looks like. They probably have at least a couple hundred people actually using this product. And so I think this is going to be one of those, contracts that are interesting, or conferences.
I have the feeling that this one will be epic like the iPhone 4 presentation. It's like the iPhone was already cool, but it was the iPhone 4 that made people say, holy shish, this thing is actually so ahead. And this headset thing is just one example. And that example could make people realize, okay, this is not just what other people are focused on. This is completely another league. And from what Karp said in the interview, there is another example that we're probably going to share related to the commercial space, but truly the space. Meaning he said something like, we will show you an application where someone who's not technical can actually deploy information from the satellite to deliver business value. That is unheard of.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be really, really fun. If you're here from Twitter, please let us know in the chat. If you are watching on Twitter, you can just say anything in the chat and we'll see you on Twitter. Zebbing says, hi, Amit. Happy to join you guys. Hello to you, Zebbing. Thank you all for being here. Ether, let me get your perspective on this. Stocks at 26.96, topped out at 27.50. It's up basically 15% for the week, almost 58-ish percent. Let's call it 60% for the year. What do you feel right now about the stock? Is it getting overextended? Is this for a value? Institutions FOMOing in? What are your thoughts right now about the company?
I have no idea, honestly, because I'm not a stock guy. I'm just happy to see I'm making money with Palantir. It's been a long time since I didn't make money on Palantir. I began to buy at 29, and when it fell down to 6 and 5, I was just so like I trusted the company, and I knew the mission was right, and they were executing in a good way. So I think the same about Palantir now that I thought when it was 5 or 6. It's the same company, just performing better, and people are seeing this right now. So we can go higher, we can go lower. I don't care. I'm just here for the journey and to be with you, with everyone.
Only here for the things that matter, not like Amit and I joking around with the stock. Oh, it's up.
No, actually, that's such a. I'm so happy you said that, Ether, because like truly, I've started to adjust my philosophy as well. And I know, the community, when the stock goes up, we all get excited. It's for the fun of it. But at the end of the day, all of us, if we're really investors, we should have a long-term perspective and like just lock these shares away into an account we don't look at, buy it whenever we have free money, and wake up in 10, 15 years and just thank ourselves that we did that. Because I think the NVIDIA investors today, that were at our stage back in, for them, what, 2011, 2012, and now they're waking up 10 years later and they're sitting on what is it, almost an 18x, 20x, 30x. That might one day happen. Now, I don't know if Palantir gets as big as that. It's probably much harder. NVIDIA's a different animal, but we could wake up really happy in 10 years without worrying too much about the stock if the company's executing. And I think since Q4, the company has been executing pretty damn well.
Dom sharing us last year, he was absolutely calm with NVIDIA going to the roof and said, look, yes, I realized it is not cheap, but I don't see that as overvalued. I don't feel the rush to sell. Actually, what NVIDIA is going to bring to the market is actually way more valuable than it is perceived. And that to me was really a lesson. Like for me, it was unthinkable of not selling something that has gone this strongly as NVIDIA. Like I'm used to a world where before COVID I was only invested in Italian industrial companies. For industrial companies, especially in Italy, but it's completely insane to think something like vroom, and while it goes up, the story keeps improving, and the rate of improvement keeps improving. So I shared this morning a tweet saying something like, I joined Palantir thinking I was a mature investor, but I was wrong. They're really wrong, because in reality, I'm actually learning to invest right now with Palantir.
I agree. I actually 1000% agree. I think Palantir has taught me not only patience, but it's also taught me what it means to legitimately hold an investment, right? And what it means to hold an investment is it's boring. You know, it's yeah, you have some exciting days, but at the end of the day, you hold it, you don't look at it, you don't care about it, and you wake up in 10 years if the company's executed, and that's the part that's more fun to cover. And then maybe maybe they actually show off really well.
Okay, uploaded the
you uploaded it what, on your Twitter? Yep. On X. Okay, I keep calling it Twitter. X. Here we go. All right, so here's Karp at Bloomberg. Thank you to Arnie for getting this. If you are not following Arnie, his Twitter is in the chat right now. Please, please, please make sure to follow Arnie on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, you can give him a quick follow. Here's Karp on Bloomberg today.
Happy about how well we're doing, both in the government and commercially. But the most important change in the U.S. government has nothing to do with Palantir. When we started building this company, the idea that software would power intelligence, warfighting, general health issues was viewed as something esoteric, scandalous, obviously questionable. The idea that America's premier advantage would be software was viewed as also esoteric, academic, self-serving. And every institution in America, and especially the Pentagon, have begun to come to terms with the reality that hardware-driven systems purely are inferior to software-driven hardware systems. And beyond that, our adversaries are as good or better at building hardware systems and have a deficit in building software.
But what is different about Titan as compared to, say, Maven is that you are entering new relationships with other hardware providers, right? Like Anduril is one example. Explain how that is working in this case.
Look, actually, I see this as a commonality. America needs to establish dominance on the battlefield. Maven, what's publicly known about Maven, is one of these projects that actually took what America's the best at in the world, software, and put it in the hands of our warfighter. By the way, at enormous costs. You're sitting in Palo Alto. I had people protesting here, hundreds, putting up chains in front of our office, calling us Nazis because we were dedicated to serving the American people, because we had the sense God gave a goat, and we realized that if you're going to do really important things in this country, you should defend this country with every asset we have. And what really happened on the Silicon Valley side is that you got, because of that success, because of the power of it, and quite frankly, because of our success, people realized this is a place where you should invest and make America even stronger. And what happened is you got a whole ecosystem of defense startups and an ecosystem of people inside the Pentagon who are ready to embrace that are doing things, by the way, that are very similar to what's happening in the commercial space. And what are those things? We're going to look at software not off PowerPoints. We're going to buy software from people who've actually sold software commercially. And what's unique about Titan is not the difference, it's the logical extension. And what is that logical extension? People who've built software products that have been used on the battlefield and used commercially. You have to ask yourself a question. If your software is so good, Why have you not sold it commercially and made yourself billions of dollars? So that simple insight, which you see in the battlefield in Ukraine, which you see in Israel, is something that is hard for institutions to internalize. And the Pentagon, this step is one of the most historic steps ever, because what it basically says is, we're going to fight for real. We are going to put the best on the battlefield. And what is the best? The best is not just not one company. It's a team of people led by the most prominent software provider in defense in the world, Palantir.
There's something you said there that inside the Pentagon, people are ready for this. Bloomberg did some quite deep reporting on the use of Maven specifically in 2024 so far, and the complaint from operators in the context that it's used for targeting is that it's still not quite there. It's still, but I'm just offering you an opportunity to respond to that.
I'm not going to respond because I'd have to tell you all sorts of things. There is no one, by the way, that was a long and very important article. Everyone should read it. The way I read the article was, this is the most important thing, one of the most important things the Pentagon has done in decades.
Right.
I can tell you the way our adversaries see Maven and our friends is like, what the F? How did they actually produce this? And I tell you what the average citizen reads that article is like, thank God. We're spending money on things that are more valuable than what we're investing in. And to go into more detail, you have to go to all sorts of classes. I said, that program is one of the shining stars of what this country has done, and serves as a template for, we're going on the offense, we are going to assert dominance, and we're going to negotiate after we're the best in the world.
Alex, I host a technology show, and I want to talk about the technology, its current capabilities and where it can go. Is that platform ready to move from assisting in targeting, which is intelligence basically, to giving more information? The article also looked at the idea that there is a hope from intelligence services and the US government that it can be one day in a position to recommend which weapon to use, to give more tactical advice.
Let me give you commercial examples, because I can't go into what it can do and what it can't do. I can tell you what we're doing commercially.
Please.
Right now, you're going to see a normal non-engineer sitting at their terminal, tasking satellites, exporting a logic inside the security model of the company to figure out which satellite should be over which part of their agricultural assets and what should happen based on weather conditions. Now, you can just imagine how you could do that with a weapon system. This is exactly what Palantir commercial, not Palantir highly classified environment. Palantir with somebody that has been hired 5 days ago, that can't write code, that's very smart, may not speak English, and is just entered the enterprise, is doing that workflow. That is happening right now. And that is why this revolution, which is highly confusing. It's highly confusing.
It is.
Yeah, it's confusing because a lot of the stuff is BS. Then there's the poetry side of it. I love poetry. If I could go read more poetry, I would. Enterprises don't need more poetry.
BS, you mean what?
Well, it's like, I don't know, somebody delivers PowerPoint, we're going to give you, it's like, look, everybody has to try to sell something. If you don't have something to sell, you sell words right now. So you're selling something that doesn't work, can't work. You're explaining to your enterprise, you can't have the car you want, which is honestly Palantir, but you can have the car you don't want because this and this and this and this, and you have to buy it. And that's by the way, that is a plague on many societies, less so America. There is this problem in Europe that there's really no high-end software vendors. Luckily, our adversaries have this problem.
And you've spoken about your frustrations with Europe not being more adoptive.
Well, I spent half my life in Europe. I want the West to win. So but it's a confusing revolution. If you're sitting there and you're sitting in a society that has led industrial revolutions for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden the industrial revolution is happening basically in one place, and that's right here. That's confusing. It's confusing because 3 vendors are saying they're going to offer the same thing. One thing is like, I'm going to explain to you why it doesn't work. You have to buy our BS thing. The other's like, oh, it does work, but it's only poetry. And then there's a third category, which judges by the fruits we provide, which is exactly what we're doing, which is like, great, we're not going to argue about this part of our product, that part of our product. I'm happy to explain it to somebody who's technical. We're going to show you what happens in 4 to 6 hours, as opposed to what happened in your whole enterprise over the last 2 years.
We will talk about the commercial business. We will talk about boot camps. But let me just...
we can talk about whatever you want.
But a final point, you talked about the confusion of the revolution, okay? Today probably will be the first time that a president says artificial intelligence in a State of the Union speech. So it's a very simple question. What is your summary of this administration's leadership, so to speak, of the US in the context of AI?
It's very helpful if you spend a lot of time abroad. Because like if you look at this internally, like internally in America, there's a long list of criticisms that you could make of anyone. This country is the dominant country with no second country in the world. So whatever we're doing, it's working out pretty damn well. So it's like, yeah, could we be better? Could we have better regulation? Could we understand these things better? But again, we are dealing with a revolution. That's one of the really confusing things, again, for Americans. Like normally you have a revolution and multiple countries are participating. This is a revolution where the technology is being produced in America, mostly in Silicon Valley.
But you do have multiple customers, so just bear with me on this one. Take, for example, Israel, where you are doing some work with that country. The administration, as an example, is pushing for a ceasefire in that region, but you are working with Israel. How do you manage that? Because it sounds like your first priority is the United States.
How do we manage? Look, we very happily supply our products to our allies, including Israel. I don't like Israel. What's going on here is, does America provide Israel with more aid? I don't think there's any question of, does Israel have the right to buy the world's best technologies, assess them, and implement them? Israel, I think, has decided we have some of the world's best technologies. They've implemented many of them and publicly discussed some of them. And Palantir, I think the orthogonal, maybe more in question was, why do we say in public what everyone else believes in private? I.e., we should defend the West, we should not apologize for fighting terrorism, and we are going to provide our sharp tools to our allies.
Let's talk about the commercial business, okay? You told my colleague Lizette Chapman 1 month ago, almost to the day, quote, we don't know what to do with the onslaught of demand in the commercial context. Do you know 1 month on what to do now?
No. I mean, if you're going to see a boot camp here, series of things, we've had to, we haven't been able to meet demand. We've had to tell people we couldn't accommodate them. We have hundreds of people coming, not just people, but leaders of industry. And if you just look at it from the internal dynamics of how do you deal with the contracting? How do you deal with the implementation? It's true, these things have gone from taking us 3 months to 4 hours. But it's also true.
Well, the idea is you cram 4 months worth of work into a day in these boot camps, right?
It is not even a day. It's hours. And so
why is that important to Palantir? Why did you go down that route?
Well, the most important reason it's important to Palantir is we can fight with people about PowerPoints and their ability to do stake dinners.
Why do you keep bringing up PowerPoints? Is the point you're making that your competitors go in with a deck and
Absolutely.
say, this is what we'll do, but they don't have a product?
Well, I'm not saying anything. What I'm really saying is, if you have a product...
Well, you did. You said PowerPoints many times.
Exactly. So what I'm telling everyone there is like...
All right, we are going to AIP Con.
We're so thrilled to welcome you back to AIP Con, and on a week of particularly big milestones for us, not only for all of the commercial customers that we have gathered in the room here today, but also for the US government business as we celebrate the Titan Award and becoming the first software prime on a hardware system. We've had nearly 850 boot camps completed since the launch of the program, more than 40 with hospitals and health systems last week alone. Every single customer that is with us today has completed a boot camp before coming. And this afternoon, for the first time, we have customers leading their own boot camps with each other. We've had a pretty relentless focus on AI in production the last few months in particular. Not AI on a whiteboard, not AI in a slide deck, but AI in theater and on the factory floor. And today, we're so excited to have more speakers, individuals, customers, examples, use cases, ideas, learnings than we've ever had. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the day. And with that, I'd like to introduce Alex.
Very happy to be here. This is also an anniversary because usually they don't let me on stage without someone to mind me. That's the whole reason. Thank you for people here for the second, third time. You may notice I've escaped my minder. And the person interviewing me used to be a high-ranking official of the U.S. government, and he doesn't tell you that. And is ready to reprimand me to some unknown place if I go offline. But any case, it is momentous occasion for Palantir, and I would say for our journey, and that journey began not very far from here. I don't mean the time Peter and me in the dorm fighting with each other, although that's where it began at Stanford. Uh, and it really began with a central set of ideas, of course, the most important one of which was we've got to make our institutions actually work, which means you put less into the system than you get out. A very simple idea. Every business in this room works on that internally. You build something efficiently that's better than your competition in a way where you get a margin. And that idea was in Silicon Valley. One was the building block of how Silicon Valley was built. It meant you built things for the US government, they actually became valuable, and then you sold them to primarily to America and the rest of the world. And because you had done all this high-end R&D, and not just done it, but done it in a way where it actually worked with the most interesting, innovative people in the world doing it, you could take those products to the world. And that actually is what built a lot of what made things work in this country really well and brought our country together in so many ways, and has led to a dominance it's like this weird thing where 84% of the top 50 companies in the world are American, and almost all of them that were started here. And then ways of doing things, ways of working together, ways of innovating that were unique. And then, of course, we lost that and had a wave where basically people built technologies where the person they're selling it to was de facto the host, and the people selling it were de facto parasitic. And that's what consumer internet basically is. You enjoy yourself, they make all the money, and you get slower and dumber, and you enjoy it. So it's like I'm getting slower, I'm getting dumber, and every day I enjoy it more somehow. It's like the slowness, exercise for my mind, don't need that. And this company and the products we built, leaving aside the kind of pro-West thing that I'm very proud of, was built on the simple idea that our US government clients primarily, although we have allies from almost every country in the world using our product, would get more value from the product than what they were paying for. It would not only make their institution work, but it would work better. So the first product we built was built to increase civil liberties and decrease terrorism at a cost that is very small for what we built. Now, if you fast forward to now, when we launched this product Foundry, and then we built some things in the US government and commercially, the ontology, which is now becoming famous, other parts of our product. The whole reason these products were built years before anyone thought of large language models was that we built a culture around, well, what ought to an enterprise want? If you took the enterprise and reduced it to what it ought to want to do with its software, what it ought to want to do with its production, what it ought to want to do on the battlefield, meaning, as was mentioned, the battlefield doesn't even work unless it's software imagined and generated. And then in the commercial context, how would you deal with a very harsh competitive environment where you have varying quality of assets, supply chains being disrupted? You have to make people work in manufacturing as if they're from a different country. In this country, you have to reduce your margin, you have to reimagine your supply chains. And what would the attributes of a software platform look like? And that's how we came up with Foundry and the ontology and all these things. It almost looks like magic that they now exist. You have this incredible revolution. And then the revolution is really confusing. It's confusing because some large language models create value. Large language models do certain things well. They don't do other things well. You have PowerPoint production, which is a plight on our society. And I was like, get rid of the PowerPoint. That, we at Palantir do things mostly for good reasons, but I, not anyone else at Palantir, also do things to humiliate people selling PowerPoints. No one at Palantir would do this, but I do it, and I love it. The whole reason for the boot camp is to, one, show you something in action, something that is yours and that you own, that creates enormous value for you, more value for you than what you're paying us, and shows you how you can reimagine your enterprise. By the way, it's an enormous advantage in this country because people are maximally willing to change, learn, be meritocratic compared to any other country in the world. And so it gives a disadvantage to America. It is a disadvantage to the rest of the world. It's a massive advantage to America. Industrial base in America can be reimagined. Enterprises can be rebuilt. The rest of the world is not moving this quick for lots of reasons we could go into. It's a massive advantage for our warfighters, people protecting us because they can reimagine it. And I have to admit, it's very humiliating to people selling PowerPoints and steak dinners, which I love. And I think, by the way, when you guys are also tired of, you can get a steak dinner yourself. You don't need the steak dinner. You all can buy it yourself. How about your enterprise reimagined and no steak dinner? That's what Palantir is offering. And I find it super gratifying that we at Palantir and you, our partners, many of whom I've met here or will meet, are playing an enormous role in a crazy and interesting revolution. Much bigger. So the other thing, the reason why people don't realize the revolution is people assume a revolution is associated with long, off-colored hair and psychedelic drugs. And some people here have that, but it's not. Actually, this revolution is being driven by people in this room, and it is going to have an enormous impact on America, on the rest of the world. And the other thing about this that's really cool is mostly, since a lot of these things people talk about weren't really true, you could wait. But what really is happening here is the early movers are going to move much quicker and much faster. And those, by the way, we have a whole bunch of people in London who are here. So this is like America, England, all these places galvanizing. But the early movers are going to have an enormous advantage over the people that wait, precisely because the incremental value is not incremental. And it's like, every day you wait is a day where you can't catch up. That's the advantage of Silicon Valley over the rest of and America over the rest of the world. That's the advantage of Palantir, given that we built these things. And quite frankly, that's the advantage of everyone sitting in this room, that you can actually begin to reimagine, rebuild your enterprise in hours, while somebody else around the world is hearing from somebody who's telling him this stuff isn't real. And with that, I'd like to welcome you. It's tremendously exciting. For me, it's like a real high point to be back in Palo Alto with such a tremendous group of people and my Palantir colleagues. We have a really good vibe on our end. And most people at Palantir didn't get to do a lot of winning in high school, so it's kind of nice. It's a new vibe. It's a new vibe. Yeah. So, any case, with that, very, very, very welcome. Very happy you're here, and yeah, glad to be partnered with you. Bye.
Please welcome the winner of the most impactful AI implementation from Lennar, Scott Spradley.
Good morning. You guys should stand up and look around at how crowded this is, because I think a couple of years ago I was here and it was smaller, but this is humongous. And I love the quaintness, just to give you the feedback, Sasha, that keeping this tight like this is the way it should be done. So thank you for that. Anyway, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story about Lennar. Lennar, if you don't know, we're the biggest home builder in the country. And our business model is generally pretty simple to understand. So buy land, prepare the areas that we build for construction, and then build the homes and then warranty the homes. And what we're going to talk about here today is a really complex part of that process, which is what we call horizontal construction. And that's where we're preparing the land for construction. So I'm going to show you some emails here, and you don't need to read these emails. Trust me, emails are horrible. But in any case, I'm just going to kind of show you a couple things. So basically, we had a guy that worked for the COO that was saying, hey, I want to buy something called QuickBase. And it's basically an access product. And everybody in here probably groans when they hear that word, because access is not something that we want to use to feed any kind of system at all. And so basically, this is one of the big problems that we face when we're doing that is you'll get like 7 different bids, and there will be thousands of items in these bids where you're trying to find out what's the best pricing. So we have 17,000 different communities across the country. That's a lot, right? Last year we planned to build 62,000 homes. We built 73,000 homes. So that was kind of a big achievement. But there's a lot of complexity in preparing these homes for what we call that horizontal construction piece. And so the COO says to me, hey, I don't know if we should buy this software or not. Can you talk to these guys? So we talked to them and we engaged. And then the COO sends back the thing that we all dread: need speed, need this to happen fast. And that's something that is always annoying to people who deliver technology, because technology doesn't usually happen that fast. But in any case, so Lee Slazak, who's here, we sat down, we had a conversation with this guy that wanted to buy this piece of software. And we kind of listened to him, listened to the problem that he had to solve. And basically, one of the problems that he has is he kind of reiterated this thing about, there may be sometimes 7 different bidders that provide all of these thousands of bids per item. So when you think about like a new home, sometimes there's manhole covers, there's 2x4s, there's plumbing, there's electricity, there's all the stuff that goes in, and it literally is thousands of lines. And these guys were doing this on spreadsheets, which, by the way, I have shirts that say, did you not know Excel is dead? But in any case, we thought, my God. And so as we kind of walked through this whole process with him, we thought, geez, this is really the ultimate case for Foundry. And we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, why not Foundry? This is perfect use case. And this is a great way to bring in Palantir to Lennar. I spoke here a few years back, and we did a big transformation when I was the CTO at Tyson Foods. We took $700 million of cost out using Foundry, which is pretty epic. So I had a lot of confidence in that. And you guys have all probably learned about Foundry, but we started to work. We brought Palantir in. We had, in 51 days, felt like we're ready to now show these guys what Foundry can do, what Palantir can do. And so we sat down, we asked for 40 minutes to give this demo. They said, well, you're going to get 20. That's classic, right? That's what we all live with. So we started giving the demo. Actually, Milo, who's here, was the one that was doing the demo. And it was totally quiet for 14 minutes. People were just like kind of in awe. And then, while this slide says there was an eruption, the real word is all total hell broke loose, because people were just completely couldn't believe what they had seen, because you're basically looking through all of that data, and it's showing literally that across 17,000 different communities, when you're preparing land for construction, that you're saving anywhere between $2.5 million to up to $8 million per each of those communities. It's a big deal when you think about the scale of 73,000 homes. And basically, what made us feel great is that COO said, it's amazing that after only 51 days, you all have changed the complete idea of technology delivery here at Lennar, because we've never seen anything like this. We've got an LLM in there, or we have AI running in there. All this is running, and it's basically using the LLM to create an email to just go back to each of those bidders and say, we think you can do better on this many pricing items because somebody else had a lower price. And that's just fantastic. So that for us was huge. And I think Lennar has a different level of confidence. And so my final thing that I would say is just get started. If you haven't considered, if you're a customer in here and you're thinking about using Lennar, feel free to give me a call, because I can tell you what, the velocity that you're going to get, the intellect of the people that are there, the amount of learning that they're going to do as far as the business case goes is like you've never seen before. So that's my story. Thank you guys for being here, and enjoy Foundry, or excuse me, AIP Con.
Please welcome the winner of the Best End-to-End AI Integration from Lowe's, Elena Wielden.
All right. How many of you have had a home improvement project or bought something? All right. You better have bought it at Lowe's. And if not, you better download the Lowe's app right now, or maybe a little bit later. However, I just want to say thank you so much to the Palantir crew for inviting us out here and sharing with everybody what we've been able to do in record time. So I will echo what Scott said about record speed to market. So let me tell you a little bit of a story about our home services like business. As a customer, you can go into a Lowe's store or shop us on Lowe's.com, and you can pick out exactly what you want to do for the project you have in mind, whether or not it's a kitchen, a bath, a flooring project. It could actually be a roofing project, a fencing project, you name it. Once you've checked out, essentially it moves to a team that is about 1,700 people, and it's a call center. They monitor all of the activities to take that to actual completion for our customers. We've had some, I'm going to call it dated ERP solution that the team has been working with. And with dated, I'm sure you can imagine this: a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of access databases, some sitting on somebody's machine. And you can imagine with a remote crew, that makes it really difficult to actually audit the business itself, to make sure that projects are getting completed on time and customers are getting exactly what they needed. So last year, we actually began working with Palantir on another use case for supply chain. And I'm not here to talk to you about that one. As we were learning really quickly from our supply chain use case, and we understood what we wanted to do with our home services business, we actually said, wait a second, we have another use case for you. And so we actually rallied the troops, and let me just walk you through what happened next. So there was a crew from Palantir that were from Oslo and London that came into Charlotte, North Carolina, began to work with us and understanding our problems. And then we actually used Foundry to build in the data, stitch together ontologies, and we created a POC in record time. And because of what we saw in the POC, we actually said we were able to reduce overdue activities. Overdue activities, just think of the word overdue, not good. And essentially 75% reduction in those activities, which means we were improving our customer service. On top of that, people were becoming more productive. And on top of that, managers had more insight into what was actually happening with the business itself. And in less than 4 months, we created something from POC all the way to production. And I'm hoping Alex is in London and we've reached 1,000 people a day. But essentially, on average, we have 1,000 people who are working simultaneously. You can see where we've been, but we launched. And I will tell you, the call center agents, or what we like to say is our services organization, they're so excited about this new technology. And Alex said making us slower and dumber, Palantir has made us faster and smarter in general. And one of the things that you always pride yourself on is how fast can I do something to make somebody happy? And the business itself couldn't believe how fast we were able to do this. And so, with that, there's a lot more work ahead of us for sure. And as you can imagine, now that the business says, all right, we have the ability to have bird's eye view, prioritize like workflows, essentially understand the productivity and health of our like network, what else can we do? So we're thinking, how do we like take AIP to the next level so that when a call center agent needs to contact a provider who hasn't, shown up for a job, or things are running behind, we're actually sending that person a little nudge, and it's not a person calling at the end of the day. So we are just now getting started in our journey, but I will tell you this, like without Palantir, we definitely would not have been able to solve this as quickly as possible. And with that, Alex, if you're watching in London, thank you so much for being part of the team. I echo everything that Scott said, is that the team rallied and literally showed up wearing their red vest for us. Thank you.
Please welcome the winner of the most ambitious AI roadmap from Archer Aviation, Adam Warmoth.
All right. Thank you, Palantir, for having me here today. As an ex-Andorilian, congrats on the Titan win as well. Really exciting news. So I'm here today to tell you about Archer Aviation, our Midnight aircraft, and how we're working together with Palantir AIP to transform urban mobility. How many people were stuck sitting in traffic on the 101 this morning trying to get here? Yeah, a lot of folks. And I'm sure you're sitting there wondering, why are we still doing this? It's 21st century. There has to be a better way. And Peter Thiel famously said, we wanted flying cars and we got 140 characters. But I'm here to tell you today, the future's coming and Archer's going to be launching next year to transform this. So Archer's mission is really about how do we make our cities more efficient, better places to live and work. And so half of the world's population today lives in cities. It's going to be 2/3 by 2050. And as our populations have grown, our economic activity has grown, our cities have been able to keep up with that growth by scaling into the third dimension and building more buildings, skyscrapers. But our transportation's really been stuck in 2 dimensions in a gridlock. And so as our population grows, there's really not any place to grow and nowhere to go except for up. And so we look at cities like San Francisco and San Jose, Chicago, New York, and looked at why aren't we flying around these cities today? I flew out here from New York on Tuesday, very nearly missed my flight, getting stuck in the gridlock trying to get into the Holland Tunnel. And so we've got this massive city, but everyone trying to go through one pinch point. So when you look at going to the third dimension, taking advantage of all that space, you could fly there in just 9 minutes. And the technology that's going to enable us to do this really at scale is the electric propulsion that drives Archer's Midnight aircraft. And so because Archer is all electric, it's 0 emissions, it's 100 times quieter than a helicopter flying overhead, and it's fully redundant, which is going to make it as safe as flying in a commercial aircraft today. And so those core pieces of the electric technology is what is going to enable us to actually really go and operate this at scale, at a cost that's affordable to everyone, and actually go transform urban mobility. So Archer was really designed from the first sketch around this mission. And so it's got 4 passengers and a pilot, flies at 150 miles an hour in a range of 100 miles, really designed for this urban transportation mission, moving people from downtown Manhattan to the airport, moving people from San Francisco to San Jose, and doing it in a way that communities are going to want and going to accept. And in order to do this, in order to achieve our vision, we're going to have to build aircraft at a scale an order of magnitude greater than has ever been seen in commercial aviation. And so we're working with our partner Stellantis. We're really excited to work with them. They've got folks embedded in the team. We're leveraging their expertise and their knowledge with Foundry and with AIP to build a facility that's going to be capable of building 2,000 aircraft a year in Covington, Georgia. And so we're really excited to leverage that knowledge, leverage AIP to really produce at an unprecedented scale. And as we build these aircraft, then we need to operate them. And so we're looking at our cities around the world and saying, how are we going to deploy hundreds of aircraft into these cities at dozens of takeoff and landing sites, moving tens of thousands of passengers per day? And so the complexity of this operation that flows from how do we build our aircraft and deploy them and operate them and maintain them, how do we handle our customer operations, how do we handle weather disruptions, all of that, to be able to do that at this sort of scale is going to require a digital twin of our entire enterprise, of all of our operations, creating a single source of truth that everyone's operating off of. You can imagine a supply chain disruption in our motor subassembly. We need to flow that information through to our maintenance team to say, hey, can we start to defer some maintenance on those items? We need to know our flight planning team to say, hey, can we adjust some of our flight routes to have less wear and tear on the motors? We need to let our customer support team know, hey, we're going to have some schedule disruptions as a result of this, and they need to scale up their support. So a lot of these things that are highly coupled and really only possible when you connect your entire enterprise with a digital twin. And so we already started working with Palantir today. Our Midnight aircraft is flying just down the road in Salinas, California, going through flight test. We're learning, we're iterating as we work towards our 2025 FAA certification. And so as we make heavy learnings and we make changes, we need our flight test team, our manufacturing team, our design release team, our purchasing team, all operating from the same sheet of music in terms of the bill of materials of the aircraft, what the latest design is, what the latest results are from the tests, and how we need to incorporate that in design. Any delays there, if we have to wait a day between tests, right? If we have to wait a day for the supply chain team to know that the bill of materials has changed, that's going to impact our program timelines and delay our commercialization. So we've already got the Palantir team on site, and they've been able to support our. We've been able to build an ontology that takes the bill of materials of the aircraft, lets us view it in a hierarchical way that we really haven't been able to visualize it in before. We're also able to then see where the risk is in our bill of materials, where we need to apply more pressure on the purchasing side, and really get this all to come together in a faster timescale than ever been seen for an aircraft certification program of this magnitude. And so, but we really wouldn't be working with Palantir and AIP if it was just that problem. Really, it's like we've got a great point solution there, but really it's about enabling this massive urban transportation system at scale. So thank you all for having me here today. And we can't wait for you to fly with us.
Please welcome the winner of the most intelligent AI-driven supply chain from General Mills, Dave Jackett.
First, I just have to apologize to Alex. I do have 3 PowerPoint slides. My hope is I'm not one of those that gets humiliated up here. So a couple of years ago, I drew up a purpose statement for myself, and it was that I want to create beauty from chaos. And the thing that I love about my job, the thing I love about this work that we're about to talk about, is that I get a chance to do that every single day. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our journey at General Mills, but I wanted to start with this quote that I saw a couple of years ago. And if you're in this audience, my guess is that on some level this resonates with you, and that's that we're moving from a world where people make decisions supported by machines to one where machines make most of the decisions guided by people. And I think at General Mills, we're on that journey, and with the help of Palantir, we're accelerating towards it. But it doesn't happen by accident. It takes intention, it takes commitment, and it takes the right partners. We started this journey back in 2019 with an investment in a connected data foundation. That's where we moved 2,000 master and operational data tables to the cloud, connected them together. And I can't tell you how important it's been to have that single source of truth that has accelerated every single use case that's come after it. That was sort of the core. Then we made an investment in a planning system. Many of you probably have. But if you're like us, you very quickly realize that a plan is just a plan, and it needs to be executed. Things change the second that it's created. And that's where intelligent execution comes in. That's what we're going to talk about. And that's where our partnership with Palantir, I think, is changing fundamentally the way that we run our supply chain. So we're building this intelligent execution layer, but we're not stopping there. The goal is eventually to connect that to our partners, so the ecosystem. These are our suppliers, these are our customers, these are our third-party logistics providers. And so we're already starting to bring in the external data to power that side of the model. I did want to just pause briefly on this design for an intelligent execution system, because I think it's really important to how this operates. At General Mills, our supply chain is significantly complex, like many of you. We've got 4,000 suppliers in a network that feed over 200 plants in North America alone. We try to service about 1.2 million customer orders every year, And it's our estimate that our operational folks, those who are actually touching the orders, are making about 50 million decisions every year. Those 50 million decisions is what drives the $10 billion in COGS that we have, and it's what helps us achieve or not achieve our customer service, our quality, and some of our other greenhouse gas and emissions goals. What we're really trying to do with this is automate the millions of $5,000 decisions, the small but mighty, that we have to make manually today every single year. As we build that up, and this is the bottom part of it, the hope is that we're also going to create better visibility end-to-end for our leaders, that we can bring them options and ensure that their strategy is being translated to action at the ground level. That's really hard to do today. It feels like you're trying to tell people what to do with emails and Excel spreadsheets and all that, and that's how strategy turns into action. But there definitely is a better way. And so we're starting in our logistics space, we're starting in our raw material space, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So we started a year ago with that vision, intelligent execution, and this project called ELF, end-to-end logistics flow. And I will say the ELF branding was there before our partnership with Palantir, but it's been kind of a fun coincidence that came together. So we started with that, and I'm happy to say that today, we've got a system that every day in real time is consuming constraints, capacity, cost of our network in real time. Overnight, it's taking a look at over 3,000 orders. This is the movement from our plant to our warehouses. And wherever it finds disruption, wherever it finds opportunity for cost mitigation, it's making a recommendation. This is happening automatically. Those recommendations go to people today. Eventually, we want to take them off the loop. And over 70% of those changes, those recommendations are being accepted. That means that in 70% of the time, the machine is beating or exceeding what a human can do, which is not terribly surprising. But we still need that human element for now until we build the trust. But we're very close to, I think, that threshold for automation where you can start turning those decisions over directly to the machine. And it's showing real results. I mean, we're saving on average about $40,000 a day, which if you're keeping track, that's about $14 million annually. And it's really only deployed to part of our network as we speak. We were able to build this capability in just a couple months and deploy it because of that investment in connected data, because of the power of Foundry and Palantir from a platform standpoint. And it's resulting in decision speed, fewer touches, and eventually lower greenhouse gas. I did want to say we're learning a ton on this journey too about change management, the cultural shift that's needed to implement automation at scale. We're starting to build standardized adoption metrics. We're starting to upskill people and reskill for a different way of working. And we're installing change champions in every place. I think that's critically important to it. And I would say Foundry's impact of this is really powerful because real time you can see the impact of the decisions, but you can also see the impact of the decisions you didn't make. And that can be really powerful for change management from a leadership standpoint. So I'm super excited for the work that we're doing. I'm super excited for the work that we're going to do. I'm pulling for all of you on your journeys, and I offer you to reach out if you want to go on that journey together. Thank you.
One more round of applause for our first few speakers. All right, y'all, we've got a lot more coming for you. So we're going to give you about 30 minutes to get some coffee, continue having the conversations, talk through what you learned, what you heard, what you want to hear more about. For those of you joining us on the live stream all over the US, all over the world, we'll see you back here in 30.
Okay, so that was 4 companies: Lennar, Lowe's, Archer, and General Mills. I have some notes on these companies, but we'll start off with you guys. I guess we'll take it one by one. Ether, you want to start off with any thoughts on Lennar?
Well, it was a bit boring, to be honest.
Okay, I didn't want to be the first person to say it, so okay, I'm happy.
I expected demos, you know.
Yeah, this is a little boring. It's a little boring, yeah.
Because Karp was complaining about PowerPoints, and then we saw people with PowerPoints, so it was a bit of a contradiction. But yeah, I mean, the results are the results. So even if the format is not what we desired, the results are there, and yeah, I mean, Lennar talked about the bootcamp that they used.
There's a Tyson guy apparently who came to Lennar.
Yes, and everyone in the comment section was saying, "Isn't he just like the Tyson guy?"
Yeah.
And I was just looking at the comments and having a good time because of the references to Karp's belly and whatnot. But Lennar was great. I mean, everyone has great results with Palantir, and yeah, and Lowe's also. So the exponential graph was amazing to see.
Yeah, Arnie, I'll get your thoughts on here, but I agree with you. These presentations were not the most captivating. I also think, by the way, the presentations were kind of quick, which is why we're taking a 30-minute break versus usually a 15. Usually it's a very quick break, but I think even as watching them, they flew by. I mean, they did 4 presentations. They started at 1:15. It's 1:50 in 40 minutes. So less than 40 minutes, 35 minutes. So not the most exciting presentations, but obviously the results are the results, and that's what matters the most. Arnie, what are your raw thoughts so far? And then we'll take it company by company.
I'm wondering if we're actually seeing a AIP Con rather than a Foundry Con so far.
Oh, wow. So you agree that it's kind of boring a little bit.
I think these are more introductory presentations to what is Palantir, what value Palantir can achieve, help companies achieve, rather than why AIP can be the key to unlock the business value. This is more why you need Foundry. I'm not disappointed. Well, I would expect something different from all of them. But because my need as an investor is I want to show some clips of the products and the results they can achieve with those products. Like from my standpoint, those are the most important information. We kind of got them when they said in 15 days we were able to unlock 40 minutes of reduction per agent, so a 70% decrease in time. Then we have Lowe, like a number of I really liked was Lowe saying in 3 weeks we were able to onboard 1,000 employees on the platform. So that was a very nice thing. But overall, it's like I agree with the contradiction. F PowerPoints, and so far we have seen only PowerPoints and no something real. Like so far, maybe the problem is that we started this series of AIP conferences with very, very high bar. Like
But I think
the
it's
Jacobs presentation were just so good that create us the bias. Okay, we want everything to be this good.
Go ahead, Ether.
I think it's coming. I mean, these are maybe necessary, and just as someone said in the comment section, not for investors, but for customers or potential clients. So I think this is just a necessary step of this presentation. And as they've been teasing us, demos are coming, and I'm just going to wait and see, because yeah, as I've said 3 times now, I think it's coming. So there's no need to hurry, but it's been so far a bit as it should be for customers, but it's been a bit boring, but it's normal.
So let's say you are a potential customer. Would you be more intrigued by what you are seeing?
Maybe not intrigued, but I as a company, I would like to see results. And when I see that exponential growth that Lowe's showed, that is what I'm looking for. And that reduction in time, I mean, that is the good thing. And investors will come after customers. It's not the other way around. So I think it's just a normal step in this journey.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't think the conference is for investors, and I totally understand that. But I agree with Arnie. The last 2 AIP conferences, the presentations were almost 15 to 20 minutes long each. We had barely 35 minutes for 4 people. So that's why I did. Go ahead.
They were too long in the last times, so that they went even too deep into details that were too difficult to grasp, or just okay. just go on. While now maybe it's too short and they can't really go into the depth, so they stay one step.
Yeah, like the thing I'm looking for is if AIP is integrating LLMs into an enterprise. I didn't see any demos of that, nor did I hear enough about. Like I know Archer Aviation, which was really exciting. That's a new client for Palantir. I didn't know about. They're trying to become the Uber of the skies. He kind of talked about it on a high level, but if I'm a customer or an investor, I don't really understand why AIP uniquely is helping, and it probably is, right? So it's not to say that it's not. It's just it wasn't the most exciting in terms of what the presentations look like.
How do you see this Archer Aviation actually being a client that goes directly in competition with Lilium?
So Lilium is like private jets, from what I understand, in certain parts of the world. Archer is trying to legitimately become an Uber of the skies, where any random person can hop onto this thing and take a little like LA to San Francisco type of flight. Look, I'm not the most bullish on air flights. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more complicated. There's regulatory issues, so I think it can happen, but I don't know if necessarily they're going to succeed that quickly. But I do think if they were going to succeed, it would be Palantir and AIP. We know that Palantir doesn't work with Lilium anymore, so it seems like there's no conflict of interest, right?
I missed that. So you prefer robotics rather than flying cars?
Dude, if I have to go so I'm in New Jersey. If I have to take a 20-minute flight to New York instead of an hour-long train ride, I might hop on the train versus hopping on the flight, because I don't know, dude, you're in the sky. It's a little, it's a little scary. So I don't know how much it scales, but if it were to scale, I would imagine that Palantir would be powering the potential for it to scale. The stock right now, for those that are interested, is currently at 26.86, so nothing too crazy. I think for this event to move the stock, there would need to be a substantial demo / partnership. And first of all, I can't even say move the stock, because the stock has already moved enough this week, right? 15% up. So please take that with a grain of salt. Even if it falls back to 24, it's a measly 40% year to date, right? So I don't think it's about moving the stock, but if OpenAI, which is one of the partners, maybe presents, which I don't think they are, but if they do present, that's what they listed on the PR, then maybe the street might get a little bit more excited as well.
And I think that it's not my opinion, but every time or almost every time that Palantir has presented something, the stock went down.
Correct.
I remember in April or something like that of 2022, was it? I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But they did like a presentation with demos and, well, maybe not demos, but what Foundry could achieve. And it was just like a screen recorded performing Foundry. And I don't know if the press or the community or Palantir itself did too much hype, but everyone was underwhelmed and it went down. And everyone on the Reddit thing said like, oh, it's coming out the next Tesla or whatnot, it will go up, and it went down. So I don't think that this is meant to be exciting. I think this will be exciting. This one right here, the AIP3, because they just promised demos, and as I said before, I think that we saw what we needed to see. Just like boring stuff, but necessary stuff. So I think demos are coming. I'm super confident that we will see amazing things. And it's not me saying this. It's Palantir employees who said this. So I'm just
real quick. Let me just
for the show.
Yeah, real quick. Let me address this. Rodney says, "Who said Palantir isn't working with Lilium anymore? They're just not invested." That's correct. I don't know if they're working with them or not. They could be, for all we know, but they're definitely not invested in the company. But they could be working with them. Go ahead, Arnie.
No, I was just going to ask you, which one between OpenAI and 8 VC presentation are you looking for more?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if they're presenting, because they might be doing individual boot camps, like at booths, like conferences have these booths where customers can go to. If OpenAI is actually on stage in the next 30 minutes or whatever, that'd be very exciting. I would like that over 8VC. 8VC is a venture capital firm at the end of the day. Like it's special, but it's a VC fund. OpenAI is the hottest party in town when it comes to Silicon Valley startups. So,
well, I can agree.
That's a lot of attention.
I'm personally more curious about 8VC because since it is very connected with the founder, 8VC is the VC of Joe Lonsdale, who's the co-founder of Palantir. And since I also worked in finance, I'm really looking forward to see, okay, is Palantir actually deploying all the things that when I was working in the industry, I thought this thing doesn't really make any sense. Like if I had to build the entire software infrastructure to actually manage a fund, I would do everything in a different way. But I agree that OpenAI is a very hot topic. The other day, as I read the presentation, sorry, the news announcement of AIP Con, and I read OpenAI, I got super excited, and I thought, oh, OpenAI is a customer. Because typically when Palantir refers to a partner, they refer to a client. And then we got mentioned by Chad from Palantir, look, we're going to talk about customers and partners, like hinting, well, maybe they're not really a customer. And I went too far, saying they're a customer, maybe they are just partners.
Which is not your fault. Which is not your fault, because if Palantir is going to use OpenAI's name on their press release, they know what they're doing, right? They're not just putting it for fun. So if we get excited and then, it's not actually a customer, it's like, it's
they're playing us.
Yeah, they're playing with us.
By the way, William's link is still active.
They're OpenAI.Palantir. Okay, so let's so what is the link exactly? OpenAI. What?
Oh no, I was talking about Lilium.
Oh, Lilium. Okay, Lilium's link. So, but what does that look like? Lilium.Palantir.Foundry.com?
No, it's Lilium.PalantirFoundry.com.
Okay, I want to show everybody, because this is what Ether, for those that don't know who he is in this community, is the best at doing. So his Twitter is in the description. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. He, for the past almost 3 years, has been finding these websites. I'm going to put it in the chat that we can't log into, obviously, because we don't have the login, but it just goes to show you that there is a website. And what he's found in February, or so far in Q1, Ether, is about 200 new links for customers, potential customers. That doesn't mean they are customers, but that means they could be. Can you speak a little bit about that and what you think that means for potential earnings?
Every time that I share some company that may be using Palantir, I say they have access to Foundry, and then they come and say, oh, but there is a contract, and no. I'm not saying there is a contract, but I'm saying that they have access to Palantir software. It may be a demo, it may be a test, who knows? They know. But we just happen to know that they have access to Foundry. And up until now, today exactly, we passed the 1,500 mark. So now Palantir has 1,513 not active, but total entities.
Wow.
So it's a lot of data, and we have 225 now in this quarter, Q1, and we still have more than 3 weeks ago. So it's stupidly high,
So you think these will eventually turn into customers, and it could have a blowout quarter, even if it's not like Q1?
Maybe not all, but my rate is 82% now. We are at over 80% of links that turn into maybe not into clients, but links that endure and that they still are active out of the whole amount of total links. So it's a huge success rate, and I expect, this rate to hold.
Guys,
maybe not impact Q1 numbers directly, but
correct.
Those bootcamps and those demos will go through some quarters before turning into active customers or clients or partners or whatever.
I want to share this picture that is very connected also with Eder Square, because I know he contributed a lot. But we have the official update from the Cameron, who created the masterpiece, the Palantir client dashboard.
Wow.
Which now is getting so packed, more packed than the room of the event. And we have also the one, like the second, with the partners. These are more the government partners, I see, as we have like all the departments, Unreal, Defense Nationale, and so on. But this one of the clients, commercial client, is just so amazing to see it evolving. I remember it from the very first time where we had like a customer like Airbus, BP, Ferrari, but there were just a few, like there were less than 50. Now I can't count them.
It's amazing. It doesn't make any sense.
it's definitely pretty exciting to see that many customers. Arnie, if you could put that customer tweet link in the chat for anyone who wants to see it, so people can check it out. And again, guys, please make sure to be following Arnie and Twitter. I'm putting Arnie's Twitter in the chat. Please make sure if you're here, you follow them there. Okay, so the next 4 presentations we have, I think, are going to be more around satellites and space and time and all this stuff that they sort of marketed. Any expectations on that, Ether? Anything you think is going to be like that you're looking forward in regards to that demo?
I don't know. I just like to see new technologies being integrated into AIP or Foundry, for that matter. So yeah, just to see new stuff and see how vast stuff is being used now. Yeah, clients growing their reliance on Foundry as so
I
many
think the mixed
companies are.
reality stuff is going to be interesting
Yes,
too, right?
yes, because
Yeah.
how can so many different industries integrate everything, and especially our augmented reality into their day-to-day business, and how can they benefit from it using AIP? That is my like not my question, but my topic of interest here, because this will be the main thing now, and they promotioned this augmented reality thing just before starting, so I'm very curious.
I agree.
What do you think
but
we'll actually talk about this integration between
it's a commercial
satellites?
company. It's not a government client, so I don't know. It's a good question.
Aerospace, maybe?
Like a maybe a well, we don't work with Boeing, right? So
No, but they said United.
oh, United. Oh, it's probably United then.
I think CSX, which is a railroad company, so a transportation company, I think that would be similar to the use case we have already seen last time. Was it Canadian Railway?
Canadian Pacific, Kansas City. Yeah.
So I think that is the one.
Yo, imagine
share this
coming up after the break. Palantir. Okay, let me go to their tweet. I'll pull it up.
And these are Apple. These are Apple's Vision Pro.
Vision Pro.
Yes.
I was gonna say, imagine, you know how that yeah. So there's gonna be mixed reality soon. You know how that famous example that hedge funds use satellites to be able to track how much traffic is like at a Walmart to figure out if they should buy Walmart or short Walmart. What if they bring up an investment firm and they're like, we get to figure out how we short or buy stocks based on geospatial intelligence? That would be hilarious. That'd be epic.
Yes.
Look, that is kind of my wildest dream. If that is, they gave me like a Palantir full stack with all the data, I think we could really do crazy stuff. Like, because you saw it with Palantir, we saw it with Robinhood. When you know things are going well, but the stock price doesn't reflect it, and you can know that from information that is just publicly available. So it's like, or you have that information that is very, very thin, and you only have access to that, or you just reinterpret that information in a better way, you have an advantage over the street. We have Ether Square.
We have Ether Square. That's correct. We have Ether Square. Okay, because we don't have that many more presentations to talk about, I'm going to bring up a dumb topic, but it's okay. It'll be fun to talk about. People in the chat kept talking about this. What do you think about Karp's belly? I think he's eating good, and and Palantir's getting fatter and fatter, and he doesn't care. He's enjoying it.
I was having a great time reading all the comments when he went on, and I was laughing alone here in silence, just watching at the comments, and I took some photos of them. It's just fun. I mean, there's no. I don't guess there is any problem
it's hilarious. I mean, he's wearing a tucked white shirt, which is also like, it's who else does that other than a rock star philosopher? A tucked white shirt, like, that's amazing. I love it,
guys. Until his VO2 max levels are fine, I'm also fine. I don't care about belly.
Exactly.
Do you think the belly actually started to emerge the more boot camps we were running? Because no, I can't go cross country skiing. I have to boot camp.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably busy. I doubt Karp gets to work out as much as he used to before.
Exactly.
If he's saying we have unlimited demand, I'm pretty sure all day he is like busy. There is no way this guy has time to work out as much.
He must be traveling a lot.
He must be traveling like crazy too. Yeah, that's another thing.
Oh, so we may have found the most very accurate KPI to track.
Yeah, we looked at Palantir Twitter account, AKS in the chat. We know that this Vision Pro thing they're going to announce. Well, okay, while we have probably like 5 minutes, what do you guys think about the Vision Pro? Because I think the hype has definitely died off. I have
Those are beautiful.
It is beautiful. I have a friend who swore by it a couple weeks ago. He said, I'm buying Apple stock to the moon. And now he's returning the Vision Pro because he can't see the use cases. Do you think?
Wow.
And this is why I'm saying this, because I think if Palantir builds a use case for mixed reality in the enterprise or on the battlefield, that's way more like meaningful than wearing it, at your house. So what do you think right now about the consumer application about the Vision Pro? Arnie, go ahead.
I believe the tech is truly dope. Like the tool is dope. Okay. The problem is for what you pay, actually what you get. I speak without direct experience, but what I see is essentially what you get is something that helps you visualize more than actually do stuff. To actually do useful stuff, you need applications. And yes, there are some applications, but the true productivity unlocked are when you can really do stuff with that 10x better, 10x easier. And so far, I think people are just paying $3K to see movies in a better way. That's my impression. So for the moment, is great, but not that useful. With things like Palantir, at least in the enterprise space, where theoretically Microsoft with its HoloLens should be already dominant, but I don't think they're very spread with HoloLens, neither in the enterprise sector. I think we can see actually something really evolving here.
Shout out to Chad in the chat. Hey guys, coming back in a few. Amazing to see how many people are here. Yes, thank you to the 1.4 thousand on YouTube and 2.6 thousand on Twitter that are here with us today. Ether, what do you feel about the Vision Pro? Do you think it's like a cool thing coming into the future for Apple?
I think it's.
What happened?
What use case do you think they were going to show from the picture we have seen?
Aerospace.
Aerospace?
Yeah, okay, but for what?
Like fixing
like what kind of use they're going to show us?
Those cables with different colors to deactivate a bomb in the movies, like the green and the blue and the red. Maybe that they are able to like visualize something that makes sense. I'm not talking about a bomb, of course, but I mean,
well, look, the thing is, it has to be unique because every like Microsoft has HoloLens. We've had companies do this before. Palantir integrates data into a single central network, so I would imagine that is the key differentiator for any commercial enterprise that's using it with aerospace.
I think a differentiator could be the fact that you can connect what you see with some vision, how's called it, computer vision algorithm that help you say, okay, do you see this? Okay, this cable actually means this, and Palantir knows it means this because it is connected with the ontology. So then you can actually talk with your assistant, and your assistant AIP can actually gives you good information because it's all grounded to the reality of the business. And I wonder, like, what is this red Palantir logo? It's like, okay, if you want to deactivate the bomb,
yes,
cut this one. Could be.
I think the main difference might be like with the HoloLens, you have an application, and with the Meta thing, also you have an application, you have a game, you have something that you can access using the vision, your vision. But I think that the difference with the Palantir software, and especially with the Apple Vision Pro that has more like better quality and computer processing power, that they can access real-time things, like real-time data insights that they can actually make a difference, not just to see something that has already been preloaded, but to see something in real time with information that's been downloaded, like and in real time, and you can access it visually in real time from other sources.
So can we say that probably the differentiator is since everything is grounded to the ontology, even if you deal with real-time data, that thing can actually understand what that real-time thing that is moving actually is. Therefore, if you understand what it is, you can know how to react to that stuff.
Yes.
I would say so. We'll find out in 5 minutes. I mean, we should. This is going to be exciting because I really am curious what that would be like. It seems like they're back. They're not. I'll just put on the screen, but they're not starting yet. And we should see. So there's Chad right there. Whole community can say hi to him. Let him know on Twitter. We can see him.
Hi.
Hey, Chad. We can see you. You probably can't hear us right now, but we see you, man. You're right there. You're wearing a nice.
During the demos, Chad is always like, very cool.
Oh, they're back. Okay, here we go.
You all today how Panasonic Energy is conquering tribal knowledge with the help of our friends here at Palantir. Panasonic Energy, or PENA, manufactures millions of lithium-ion batteries every day for the EV industry out of our factory in Reno, Nevada. I started at PENA in 2018 with the battery engineering department before making my way over to my current role. Now I'm a senior manager for maintenance, where I oversee about 75% of our equipment repairs, and I'm responsible for approximately 350 maintenance technicians, or MTs as we call them. Now, if I asked you to tell me what comes to mind when you think of Reno, I don't think you're going to tell me a factory or manufacturing. Many of our MTs come from other industries, such as entertainment, tourism, or distribution, so it's up to us to teach them a new skill set. So let's for a moment pretend we're a brand new technician in our winding process, where the anode, cathode, and separator come together to begin forming the battery. As much as I'd love to show you a real winder, my bosses are here today, so we're going to have to use our imaginations and actually the generator out back. In this demo, we're going to use mixed reality to showcase how our ontology can be leveraged to upskill a technician to solve harder problems faster. So we walk up to this winder with our trainer. It's clearly not working, and we need to find the root cause. We have hundreds of machines like this on our production floor, each with tens of thousands of moving parts. Now, the benefit of being a state-of-the-art factory is our machines output a ton of data. So much so that we ultimately don't have the ability to analyze or digest it all on our own. Excel spreadsheets just look at it and laugh. If we look at the machine data, we can see thousands of error codes on this machine, and the trainer lets you know there could be multiple fixes for every error. Only some of the solutions are written down, the rest we're gonna have to learn on the job. Sounds familiar, right? Years ago, when I started fixing these machines, it took me 3 to 6 months to feel comfortable finding solutions for even the most basic recurring issues. So I can tell you from experience, this is completely overwhelming. Now that I'm in leadership, the question for me becomes, how can I speed up this learning process? How can I empower an MT to feel confident in such an overwhelming situation and ultimately set them up for success at our company? Ask Adam, or Adam as we call it, uses AIP in our ontology to serve as a co-pilot for the technician. Adam can take a maintenance work order and link it to a wealth of information, both official and unofficial, and make suggestions about what an MT should try to resolve a problem. So let's try to troubleshoot this machine. As we walk around, we can see that there's a flashing red sensor indicating that it's a cause for the error. Adam will then take that sensor data and start building out its recommendations. Before Adam, an MT would have to search a variety of databases and manually piece together relevant information, which is a huge waste of time when you have a down machine right in front of you. Now, at their fingertips, MTs can see work that was previously done on this winder, the spare parts that were replaced, and the results of any quality investigations that took place recently. We have over 1 million tickets in our system full of tribal knowledge. Adam can read all of these comments that MTs put in and summarize in the order from easiest to hardest suggestions for how a technician should press forward. Finally, Adam can search our library of control documents and only surface relevant instructions for the problem at hand. So you can see here, we just learned from Adam that all we had to do was replace that switch, and now our machine is back to making batteries. As a last step, the technician will record their fix, and it is indexed back within the Adam system, enabling the platform to become smarter and more robust as time goes on. Ask Adam's driving uptime on our equipment by providing information to empower technicians to get to the correct solution as quickly as possible. It also serves as a vital training tool for our new or even veteran technicians who are confused on how to proceed with troubleshooting, cutting that 3 to 6 month learning curve that I mentioned earlier down to just a few weeks. Now, what I showed in this demo is just the start from Adam. Everything we do in version 1 will enable us to build out more features in version 2, where we're talking about features like smart PM scheduling, which will enable us to go from a preventative maintenance to a proactive maintenance state and start to answer the questions, not only what's going to break today, but what's going to break tomorrow? What's going to hold us back in a week or even a month? We're also considering automated spare parts management to be able to feed the technicians the parts that they need when they need them at a low cost. Looking even further into the future, with our continuing partnership with Palantir, we're building Adam as a gift for our future sister plant in DeSoto, Kansas. With Adam, the Kansas MTs will also be able to tap into all the experience and tribal knowledge that we've gained over here in Nevada and deploy it immediately halfway across the country. I want to thank the Palantir team again for making all of this possible for us. I've been turning over this idea in my mind for years, but to see it come to life quickly and positively affect my technicians has been more rewarding than I can say. This has truly been one of the most extraordinary projects of my career, and I'm very grateful to be invited here to share it with you all today. Thank you.
That was amazing.
Please welcome the winner of Fastest AI-Driven Business Model Pivot from CAS Investments, James Stewart.
Good morning. My name is James Stewart. I'm the Vice President of Finance at CAS Investments. CAS Investments provides exclusive access to unique alternative investments. We've experienced a tremendous amount of growth over the past few years, and this has been supercharged over the past couple months. In February, our chairman, Christopher Zook, released a new book with Tony Robbins called The Holy Grail of Investing. We also launched a new fund called the Strategic Opportunities Fund that dramatically reduces the minimum investment required by individual investors. Our decision to partner with an AI firm has brought about a plethora of opportunities for us. We are so grateful to AIP to be able to build an online lead triaging system. And we partnered with them 6 months ago, and I want to share with you what we've been able to accomplish and how. With AIP, we can now process over 100 times more leads with the same amount of resources. This has reduced our overall lead processing time by over 90%. In just 2 months, we have managed 7,000 leads. This would not have been possible without AIP. Together, we've automated 85% of our workflow while leaving humans at key checkpoints. These humans in the loop provide feedback to make the system smarter and more efficient. AIP is able to extract key information from unstructured data sources such as emails, enrich that data, and send intelligent communications both internally and externally. And all of this works together seamlessly with our current systems such as Salesforce. But not only has AIP made us more efficient, we have been more effective. We now have complete visibility over our lead to partner conversion process. This allows us to tailor the experience for each lead. Utilizing large language models, AIP is able to enrich lead and manager data, proposing a pairing that provides us with the greatest opportunity for a successful conversion. AIP also provides us with key metrics such as manager performance, communication detail, and financial analysis. All of this has worked together to help CAS Investments continue to learn, win, and provide the best experience to our partners. I invite you all to come later today to our demonstration booth. Well, I will go through this process in more detail. Palantir has been an amazing partner, and we continue to look forward working with them on future projects. For example, we're looking to utilize AIP in our research as we review and analyze future investment opportunities. I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Please welcome the winner for Most Effective AI Implementation Team from Cummings, Jim Jacob.
Hey everybody, so good to be here. It's wonderful to see the team here because I came a few years ago. It was not as big as he said. Yeah, it's fantastic to see so many people in a cutting edge era participating in this. So I'm from Cummings, as you heard. Big shout out, obviously, to my team who's also online watching right now. So great job, guys, for the award that we got. Thank you, Palantir, for what you've done and continue to do, of course. In terms of recognizing the work that we did. I have a couple of things that I want to share with you in terms of how we were able to get to this success point. Now, I'm a little biased maybe. I've been using Palantir for about 7 years, and it's the second company I'm starting to use Palantir with, and I'm starting to see great results. So with that, let me go through a couple of things. The balance with the right players and the right tools, it might sound very simple, but when you do this over and over and over again and realize that you're not getting too far with some of the technology and with the balance, it's very essential that you put that together. And in many of the cases, and we've done so many in Cummins, so many projects, but in many of the cases, once that balance strikes and you have the right technology, it works like crazy. So with that, these are a couple of points that kind of guiding principles, so to say. Getting the right team balance, getting a subject matter expert from the business where the problem resides is critical. You've probably heard this situation happen in many cases where you'll get the business side or the function side saying, give me the data, I'll figure out what to do. You give them the data, and then they'll tell you, give me one more column or give me one more piece of information. And now you have multiple problems. So the problem that was one problem, now you have a second problem because now you're interacting with the person who's trying to build a solution for you. And the original business problem is still there too. So now you got 3 problems to resolve. So this is not, I mean, it happens all the time. So we want to run away from that situation, but you want an SME who has the trust from the business side or the function side, who's working directly with you, and he or she is the center of the solution build process. That's what we were successful in doing it in Cummins with multiple opportunities there. Now, the 3 things that we did very effectively was connecting the information. You've heard this over and over again, how important it is for a non-digital native like Cummins is. You're going to have data everywhere. And to bring that data in, you've got to have a very effective platform. This goes back to what I told you before. If you don't have the right partner, you're going to be spinning. So with Palantir, with Foundry, it was much easier to make the connections work. And connections work not just for one instance, multiple instances. In Cummins, we created a platform called the Digital Core, where each of these connections that we made, we put it into a digital twin kind of digital core into that repository. And we were able to now refer that for various problems that were coming up. And that was a big deal. Because once you do that once, you get a result because you're solving for one problem. When you do it the second time, you're going to get exponential results and so on. But you got to have the right technology to be able to access it fast, efficiently, smartly, and all that. That's the difference between Foundry as well as with building ontologies that works really well. So with that, one big problem that we have, and you could relate to this, I'm sure, this is supply risk mitigation, where suppliers could create a massive problem for you right to end sales. And in our case, Cummings is a company that builds massive engines and massive gensets for power generation. So there are tons of little parts that goes into these. And so you've got to have a fantastic view, fantastic hold on what the supply is. So we built a platform with Foundry and, of course, with ontologies to be able to drive that right through, take the risk out so that you had good visibility right through. So this project, the business sponsor of it, because we had a subject matter expert work with us, the business sponsor's line was, and it was a great line to hear, I've not seen this before as a solution. And that's great to hear, because once you do that, that means the business sponsor is going to invest again to do even more with you. So that's a big deal. Second one, I mean, for us, this is a big deal. This is repair time reduction. So what we want to do is keep those trucks on the road as much as you can, because the customer wants that to happen. If it's inside the workshop, doesn't work very well for neither party. And if it's a warranty problem, it's even worse. So because we are paying for warranty as it's in the shop. So what we have done is we were able to go and take years and years of repair history, and then we are able to use augmented reality and then, of course, AI to be able to figure out the new code that comes in, what's the repair that is required for it. So by the time it comes to the workshop, you're ready with the repair and it's out. So prognostics working really well there, again, with the balance of these two platforms. So just to quickly summarize, what we were able to do with this digital core platform was to be able to bring all these data sets as we solve for problems. And as each of these gets solved, creating a data pipeline, creating the visibility so that the subject matter expert can look at it and then get creative about new problems they can solve, and then be able to create this interoperability with these data sets. And that's the magic. I mean, connect, interpret, and act. That's the way we've worked. So with that, I mean, if there is more questions on details on what we did, more than happy to answer them. But for now, that's all we have done for the beginning. We have a long way to go with the relationship we have with Palantir. And then for this year, we probably have another 10, 15 projects that we would like to take on and do. And each one we do, like I said, that digital crow gets even stronger. So with that, thanks a lot, Palantir, for the opportunity to be here. And thanks a lot, the Cummings team. Great job, guys. Good to be here.
Please welcome the winner for Best AI-Enabled M&A Strategy from McDermott Enthone, a division of ESI, Timothy Gotzik.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the fact that the work I'm going to describe is the product of a lot of really smart colleagues of mine, both within McDermott Enthone, Element Solutions, as well as at Palantir. And so I'd like to thank them all for making this possible and allowing me to represent them. So let's talk about what we've done. This is not a bizarre situation, but we're a specialty chemicals company. We have grown a great deal by acquisition in recent years. You may not know our name, but our products are used in almost everything you touch. If you drove in a car, flew in a plane, used a phone, used a laptop, our chemistry is used to produce all those things to make them reliable and higher performance. In about 2016, McDermott and Enthone combined, and after much study, were called McDermott Enthone. These two companies, McDermott had a US heritage, both were global. McDermott had a US heritage, Enthone had a German heritage. And in 2017, I transferred within the company and moved to Germany to take over R&D. I am a chemist, which is kind of like strange that I'm talking about this, but that's how life goes sometimes. So these two entities combined, and then in 2021, we combined Coventia. And at that point, we sort of broke the camel's back. Our data systems were not aligned. We had lots of different ERPs. We had lots of different master data. And a lot of it was redundant. And my R&D scientists were spending a huge amount of time having to sort through legacy codes to understand, is this material the same as that material? Is this product the same as that product? It was compromising our effectiveness. And then for the last bullet into the dead horse, we bought German company HSO recently just to compound the problem. So we had too much data. A lot of it was redundant, and we needed to figure out a way to fix it. Well, IT, very helpful, smart group of people said, we'll just put in, one ERP, SAP S4, all quite easily done, of course, right? Well, as soon as we started studying this and looking at it, this challenge in the middle was a bullseye on my head, because we were going to be the rate limiting step in trying to cleanse and align data. And we were going to end up being the thing that prevented this from happening, which was not going to be pretty. And we needed to find a solution. After one very unfortunate project, we were introduced to Palantir. Our CEO said, hey, you should take a look at this solution and see if it's something that we can use. And I almost wanted to retitle my talk, You Had Me at Ontology, because the first time I saw the presentation, I was like, oh my God, this is a gift from the heavens. And fortunately, it turned out to be worth all the hype that was there. We were able to create the ontology, which was interesting to me, but I already knew it was messed up. The really cool thing for me was that now I had a diagram that showed how badly messed up it was. But they were able to do all the things that I think many of you already realize. They're able to hook into legacy systems, diagram it out, give a really excellent representation of the current situation. And then we designed some very nice apps in Foundry to figure out how to sort through all of it to speed it. And we've done a number of different apps in Foundry. This is the original one, and it's still underway for cleansing raw material data. This is the dashboard that I look at every morning to understand what's our progress. It shows me how many materials have been cleansed in every of the ERPs. It contains a data quality marker called the collapse factor, which one of my colleagues, Nadia Billen, amazingly, with like 2% of the available data, predicted that it was going to be around 5.5. That means that we have 5.5 redundant codes for every unique raw material, is what that amounts to. And it's proved to continue that way and continues to be one of the better predictions I've ever seen. So we are now in a position where I don't think we're going to be the rate limiting step on an SAP S4 implementation that we are doing in Germany this year. And we have other modules that we're working on that are going to speed other aspects of this process as well. Even more exciting potentially is what we're going to do next in the future. So like all of you, I attended a boot camp not too long ago and was able to sit down with one of the Palantir colleagues, Ruthik, and in 90 minutes, he built an AIP module that was able to read a very poorly made scan of a supplier data sheet and compare it against the specification of a raw material and issue a remarkably good judgment on whether or not it was equivalent to what we needed it to be. This is just sort of, blown our mind, and now we're going through the process of figuring out how do we do this. This unlocks the value creation capability of my chemists, who instead of shuffling papers and calling vendors are able to do what they do best, which is to look at chemistry and to figure out how we can make better products for the uses that we intend. And it also positions us as a company to be able to process and integrate future acquisitions much, much faster, which is going to let us deliver value to our customers that much quicker. So with that, I thank you all very much for your attention, and Palantir for making such a cool product. And that's my gig.
Please welcome from Palantir, Jack Dobson.
Good morning. My name is Jack Dobson. I'm one of our commercial AIP leads here at Palantir. When we started running AIP boot camps in 2023, we saw just how quickly we could take our customers from their first experience of AI to a deployed use case, in most cases, in a matter of hours and days. And as we near 850 boot camps in the US and around the world, we've seen the value of bringing those customers together to share and collaborate, learning from each other's solutions, developing their intuition, and forwarding their operational AI journeys. Our individual customer boot camps have quickly become cross-industry showcases, with customers going from their first hands-on experience of AI to demoing their first end-to-end workflow. As our customers go from their second to their third to their fourth boot camp, many of whom are in this room today, we've seen how quickly they build the intuition and the experience to outpace even us, going from their first hands-on experience to a fully fledged AI-enhanced enterprise. And quickly the question emerged from our customers, we have so many ideas and we want to move faster. How can we accelerate the journey from boot camp to prod? What can we learn from other Palantir users? And one better, how can we contribute back to that hive mind? So to meet this demand, we've been building solutions to support our customers' journeys from initial idea to use case, leveraging AIP to take something as simple as a whiteboard of ideas, identify applicable use cases, and then deploy it. I'd like to show you an example of this today. So I'm at an AIP bootcamp. I've been hands-on with the platform, I built my intuition, and now we're deep in discussion about the potential applications of AIP at my company. Ideas are sprawled across notes and whiteboards, and we're deep in that discussion around those different potential use cases. How complex will they be? Where do we start? How long is it going to take? This ideation is great, but what if we could skip the hypothesizing? What if we could just get hands-on with product, move past ideas, and skip straight to build? So I'm going to drop my ideas and my notes in whatever form into AIP to begin the process of turning them into use cases. AIP logic will facilitate the handoff between multiple LLMs to work on any structured or unstructured data that I've provided. And in this case, a vision-based model extracts the entities from a picture of the whiteboard at this bootcamp and starts mapping these to a repository of products. This enables us to draw on the Palantir Builder community, one that you're all going to experience here today at AIP Con. This community is solving complex, impactful operational challenges and choosing to feed their solutions back into product, becoming an asset to all of you. So why reinvent the wheel when you can learn from others? And why just learn when you can build? So with potential use cases identified from my bootcamp, this is mapped against Palantir's marketplace to identify available products linked to notionalized case studies of similar deployments across industries, bringing us right up to today. Every keynote and public demo is easily linked to from each use case, and this is a rich network of ideas and potential value, all stemming from that one whiteboard. But we don't stop there. Once I've identified my use case, I want to move from learning to building. AIP can generate a solution design for me on the spot, mapping this newfound context to my company, my enterprise, my ontology, and my existing data connections. And if I'm happy with this, we can jump straight into a deployable version of this workflow. With one click, I can jump into the user apps and start exploring a notional version of this product. This deployment packages up everything I need to get started: a notional ontology, AIP logic, automate, and front-end user applications. I can explore, build my intuition, and actually start testing the solution live. This is now an asset that I can start editing as well. I can start tweaking the ontology, feeding my own data in, editing the logic, making it custom to my enterprise. Building on this foundation gives me everything that I need to start moving fast and getting to production quicker, faster than ever before. This is going from an idea to a use case in a matter of seconds. And this is just one example. A multitude of use cases are already available on this marketplace, and I'm very excited to announce that exclusively for AIP Con attendees, workflows inspired by every keynote you've just seen on this stage are available to deploy to your Palantir instance today. So, to bring us up to date, everyone in this room is part of that community, having bootcamped and deployed AIP within your organizations. And AIP Con is enabling more collaboration than ever before. You've already seen the incredible work of 8 keynotes on this stage, and after lunch, more than 60 customers and partners are going to be presenting at the various sessions throughout the afternoon. You'll be able to get hands-on at the demo expos with live presentations by our customers of their AIP workflows, including Northwind, Trinity, CSX, AMGI Studios, 8BC, Partstown, and more. You'll meet the masters, the pinnacles of the Palantir community, sharing their experiences tackling some of our toughest problems and sharing new ideas with this community. That's Aramark, Cone Health, HDR, Jacobs, Kinder Morgan, Little Otter, and many more. And then finally, of course, you'll apply that newly established intuition in rapid-fire boot camps. But these aren't your traditional boot camps led by Palantir. These are customer and partner-led boot camps led by some of the flagship builders in our community. That's BCG, Guardian Premier Solutions, United Airlines, Moody's, Beyond Meat, Intuit, OpenAI, and others. An entire day built and led by you, shared back to this community. I want to end by highlighting how AIP is further enriching your experience today. The entirety of AIP Con is modeled in AIP, which is being used to enrich and manage all of the operations of AIP Con, dynamic scheduling, attendee management, waitlist, and so much more. And with the content of all of your presentations, workflows, boot camps, and beyond, we can enable far richer connections than ever before. AIP Logic has been used to match content to every attendee, taking into account your past boot camps, your business challenges, recommended content that is unique to each and every one of you. This, in turn, is operationalized by informing dynamic scheduling, which is updating your agendas in real time throughout the day. And you've also been prompted to communicate with us. You can text AIP Con and actually send ideas, questions, thoughts. These are all being linked back automatically to your private attendee profile, allowing us to further enrich our collaboration with you real time throughout the event, as well as after today as well. This is the Palantir community powered by AIP. We are so excited to have you here at AIP Con with us. And with that, it's time to start building. Thank you so much.
I like it a lot.
Let's build.
This morning's programming has concluded. Please proceed to 100 Hamilton for lunch and demos.
All right, there we go. AIP Con 3 just finished. Arnie and Ether Square with me. Thank you, everybody, for joining on Twitter and YouTube. What were your raw thoughts? Ether. Thoughts. Go ahead, Ether. What were your raw thoughts?
My favorite, or the ones that will stick in my head for a long time, are the ones using the Apple Vision Pro. And it's just, I mean, roughly what we said, what we imagined it would be, right? Like visualizing issues. And what I liked was the feedback that was recorded and sent back to the whole database and the machine on the platform. And then the last one, the ability for one piece, one product to be able to serve other companies with other purposes, other missions, without having to program or create anything else when it's already there. So that are my two biggest takeaways from this.
Sorry, I was on mute. Arnie, go ahead. What were your raw thoughts?
I'll start from the last part, which I think is striking. And the first thought I had when the Palantir guy shared this little demo / example of Palantir AP essentially digesting a picture and in a couple of minutes potentially creating the archetype to solve a use case made me think Snowflake is so fucked. Why? Because first, why that is valuable? It is valuable because if you have an intuition, you can solve a problem and you can draw it as a draft, take a picture, and Palantir can actually understand what is that, how that can be helpful, and then match with other archetypes that are already been developed. Have you noticed AIP was digesting data from all the presentations, all the videos? So there is a compounded knowledge element there. And there you also have all the knowledge from all the bootcamps and from all the work, all the 20 years of hard work with forward deployment engineers. So Palantir has been trashed for so many years. Oh, you're a consultant. Well, that knowledge Palantir has built over 20 years of actually being ingrained with the operations of the clients rather than staying from your ivory tower and dropping a product that is just thin. All that knowledge now can really compound. And guess what? If you haven't that compounded knowledge of NK infinite use cases, which by the way keeps compounding, you can't really be fast in solving a use case. Like all the enterprise business software is around, I have this huge business problem I need to solve. But Palantir, by having built this knowledge into how to solve problems, thanks to forward deployment engineers, and now with bootcamps, they already internalize the R&D. So that's why Snowflake needs to spend 3x the R&D of Palantir to generate the same revenues. But not only is a bigger amount, it is a wishful amount. You spend a lot to develop a product. Hopefully that product is absorbed by clients, and hopefully it works. Palantir spends very little in R&D, but all the R&D that they develop works for a platform that works, and they are open to receive the R&D from the customers. So the more use cases Palantir develops, the more that component of Palantir being able to actually solve a use case from a new customer very fast in a couple of minutes, because you have the archetype, becomes even faster and stronger. So we are seeing now just the early stage of what could really compound in a massive way, because clients can solve problems almost on their own. And from the Palantir side, this automation of clients becoming faster in actually do stuff makes the problem of the FDEs now being a cap to absorb the demand. Karp in the Bloomberg interview said, we are still constrained. We can't really handle all the demand we have so far. With this, they can actually solve the FDE cap limit that is there.
Yep.
So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, Karp's main argument that they can't handle demand because they don't have enough talent to be able to run these boot camps. If there's this knowledge repository that Palantir's essentially created with all the different boot camps and workflows that they've had over the past 850 sessions in one place, it should be pretty easy to get a client hooked up into what a use case looks like and then try to be able to solve the problem. Ether, any insights from certain presentations that you enjoyed, whether it was Archer or the Panasonic one, anything you saw that was exciting to you personally?
I mean, I saw great stuff from every presentation, but yeah, Panasonic was great. I mean, the whole Panasonic thing and data business with Tesla also. So I see how they could benefit from Panasonic through Foundry, or from through Panasonic, sorry. So every company that presented their own stuff. I mean, as I said before, Lowe's has their own thing with a huge increase, and we see different examples. But I will stick with the final thing that this gentleman with the white shirt said. That now that we are talking here, like in the meantime that we're talking here, after the 2 hours of presentation, now Palantir is doing all these boot camps and demos to the customers. So now is the good thing coming. Potential customers and customers will get to experience, and as Karp said, they've all done boot camps, or they've all participated in boot camps. So now they are going to further experience the Palantir software. And I will just like take this as a great ending point for the presentation. That now comes the real job. Now comes a task force, to try and convince and sign these companies.
What you liked the most about this Panasonic presentation?
I don't know, Arnie.
I can go on this. I mean, I think the unique thing about this, I've never seen a use case of mixed reality or augmented reality in the enterprise. I mean, I think a lot of us in the chat have kind of seen, you can watch a movie, you're on an airplane, you can go to particular adult websites, right? Yada, yada, right? Like you can use it from that perspective. But I've never been seeing it used on the actual enterprise. And the way she was describing how they ingest and integrate data in real time, as you can see on this picture right here, with someone actually looking at like almost like an iPad screen in your eyes, and then it's scanning all the stuff you're looking at. I'm pretty sure that's something unique that I don't even think Microsoft with HoloLens has figured out. Apple's not worried about that. They're worried about the consumer. And if Palantir could be a de facto, in the words of Karp's, platform for mixed reality, maybe that's another growth curve that we aren't thinking about.
Yes, that would be the best thing about the presentation for me.
I think we are still early to see like a real impact from this, but this could be really, really massive in the future. I think I would underscore about that Panasonic presentation is the end of the presentation. When they solve a problem, okay, fine, basically by using all the knowledge that is inside the ontology, Palantir AIP helps the guy to actually solve the problem. Okay, fine. But then there is a small step that in my opinion is very interesting. When after the case is closed, they say, well, then the operator just record how it solved the problem, the feedback, and that becomes actual knowledge for the company.
Yeah.
I think in those few lines, we have the essence of the competitive advantage. Palantir is able to transform all the knowledge that is just wasted inside any company to actually build a representation of that knowledge. And once you have the knowledge, you can actually improve the decisions. So building a recommendation engine is already difficult, okay? But what is really difficult is to actually have a recommendation engine that helps you solve a problem for how you really need to solve that problem. So it's not only building the engine, but actually having it grounded to something that is really representative of your company, of your goals. And with this, okay, this is how we solve the problem, then is not only archived, but it really helps feed for decisions for the future. Like in this dynamic,
Guys,
more knowledge,
sorry.
more.
Bye-bye, Ether. Thank you for joining.
So bye. Ciao, ciao. So it is really in this mechanism of you make decisions with Foundry, and then the more decisions, the better the knowledge, the better decisions you make. You create a very powerful feedback loop that is what ultimately helps you drive the cost saving, the speed, the more revenue. So
yeah, I agree.
No,
I agree. I think to wrap up, I think what we saw today were not like the craziest demos outside of the Panasonic one, but they were high level understandings to the average person on what is AIP, why it's integrated, how AIP being integrated or some type of operational AI mechanism within an enterprise is driving real business results, even if they're only in subsectors of Lowe's. Like the entire Lowe's company is not using AIP, but there are certain portions of it that could eventually penetrate and scale throughout the entire organization. And I think the key thing that Karp said before the presentation started is this whole narrative that we don't sell steak dinners or PowerPoints. We are actually selling something that drives business intelligence end results. And given the success of the boot camps that they made sure to sort of emphasize here, it seems like the boot camps are going to keep happening. Now that there's new AIP repository of all the boot camps that have happened, which was the last presentation in Palantir's history, that's going to accelerate boot camp adoption and client results, which should ultimately lead for investors to more customers, more revenue, more top line growth, and eventually better earnings for Palantir.
I mean, it's like we are always one step closer to the final vision, which I think will be, okay, customer, I log into Palantir with idea I want to solve a problem, and I can do essentially everything I want from the platform without actually a need of someone else.
Correct.
I think it is also in the interest of Palantir actually to to solve this FD bottleneck, but they realize, differently from the other companies, how important it is actually to fight along with the customer to actually understand how the problem is, why that is a problem. Otherwise, you're just a company spending in R&D, hoping that product actually will deliver real output. And the harsh realization is what Karp said at the beginning. You spend more in software, okay, great. You spend even more in software, okay. Rather than becoming better, I actually become more complex and slower, which is the paradox of technology, which is do more with less. Actually, Palantir, despite its FDE model, is actually pure technology, because we have seen that with also the results. Palantir, essentially with the same results, with the same resources, do more. While a company like Snowflake, in order to do more, they need to keep hiring. So maybe
it's a totally different paradigm. It's a totally different paradigm, right?
Yep.
I agree. This is awesome. This is really, really good stuff. A whole new paradigm for thinking how companies are going to be able to implement versions of AIP into the future and what it would look like for their boot camps. That's it for us today. Arnie's Twitter is in the description and chat. Please make sure to follow him on Twitter, palantirbolts.com. That is his Substack, which is a weekly newsletter that's for free to subscribe to on Palantir. That is also in the chat. And yeah, we'll have more to talk about on Palantir Weekly. We'll digest this for the next 24 hours. Then tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern, we will continue to break this stuff down. And then I'll be live in about 40 minutes, guys. So just hang tight. I'll be back for the market open at 3:45, and we'll keep going from there.
I mean, it never stops.
Never stops. Got to keep going.
Unstoppable, like Palantir right now. Getting the momentum. Take the whole market.
Take the whole market. Take the whole YouTube market. That's it. Arnie, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching on Twitter and X. We'll see you guys. I'll see you in 45 minutes. Arnie, we'll see you guys with me tomorrow night. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good one.